At the beginning of the film, a boy narrates the story of his school through his comic book, where 6 types of students study. First, he tells us about the children who are neither good at studies nor sports. Their life is the hardest. Then come the backbenchers. At least they have a bit of excitement in their lives. They mock others but still enjoy life in their own way. Next, there are the most liked students. They have no interest in sports but are number 1 in studies. Then comes a category of students who are only focused on sports, thinking about nothing else all day long. They participate in every match and competition at school. After that, there is a group of beautiful girls who cheer for all the sports. Finally, there is the top group, the golden group, the most famous and talented students in the school, excelling not only in studies but also in extracurricular activities. The leader of this group is Fame, the heart of the school. No one has ever beaten him in studies or sports. Now, this comic boy, Peter, tells us about himself. He is the first boy in the category who is neither good at studies nor sports. He also doesn't have the confidence to mock others. In short, his life is very boring. To cheer himself up, he creates comics where he sees himself as the hero. He also portrays his crush, the most famous and beautiful girl in the school, as his heroine. He has a crush on her. The story shows that Peter was running late to school that morning. In the rush, he accidentally put his comic book in his bag instead of his homework. He realized this when his friend, standing next to him during assembly, started copying his homework from his bag. Peter got scared because something really bad was about to happen. In the copy, instead of his name, he had written his crush, Shona's, name. As the latecomers were released from the assembly and headed to class, a big mistake occurred. Peter feared that the copy had ended up in Shona's hands. Because when the homework monitor read out Shona's name, they gave the copy to her. Now, not only Shona but the whole class started reading all the comic stories Peter had written, imagining her as the heroine. It was an extremely embarrassing moment for him. He had written his fantasies in the comic, including a small incident that was going to happen the next day. When he went to the football ground to watch Shona, she was playing football. Her skirt was lifted by the wind, and Peter drew everything he saw. Not only that, but he also drew even more. The entire class read it. Shona was deeply embarrassed as well. So, she threw his comic book in his face. Peter felt so humiliated that he hid in the restroom, crying. After spending some time in the restroom, his friend called him and said, "Stop it, come out of the restroom, come and see what's happening. Your book's photo has made you a famous guide in the entire school." Poor Peter returned, still embarrassed, and asked his friend, "How did Shona get that notebook?" His friend told him, "I gave it to her after reading the name." Peter then went to take revenge on his classmate May, who was in the restroom at the time. By now, May also knew what had happened, and when she saw Peter, she got scared. Peter scolded her heavily, but May didn't respond. In his anger, Peter tried to pinch her, but as soon as he touched her, Peter got a strong electric shock and fell back. He couldn't understand what had just happened. But one thing he knew for sure, something was wrong with May. Just touching her gave him such a powerful shock. May, terrified, ran away. On her way out, a photo of Fame fell out of her bag. Seeing this, Peter realized that May liked Fame. Anyway, he went home, plotting his revenge on May. So, he created a new comic about her, where he wrote that if anyone touches May, she gives them such a strong electric shock that it kills them. The next morning, Peter brought this comic to school and spread it everywhere. Upon reading it, May was shocked. The good thing was that Peter didn't write her name in it, so no one in class knew that the electric girl he had written about was actually May. Now, May, in trouble, went to Peter. She apologized, saying she had made a mistake unintentionally. But Peter was intentionally doing this to take revenge. She begged him to stop, but then she saw that Peter had written another comic about her, which he was about to print and distribute to everyone. Seeing this, May was terrified. Her heart started racing, and her smartwatch began to beep because of her elevated heart rate. Peter noticed this, and when he approached May to tell her about it, he got another powerful electric shock. He fell to the ground again. Taking advantage of the situation, May quickly grabbed all the comics and ran home, telling her parents, "Please, just change my school now. Everyone here is going to find out the truth about me. One boy knows about me and is after me." And then, we learn about May and her life. May had always been different since childhood. Whenever she got excited and her heart rate went above 100, her body would emit electric shocks. When she was a child, this shock would affect the other kids in school, and as a result, she had to keep changing schools. Even if she accidentally touched an electronic device when she was excited, it would short-circuit. Despite this, her parents tried to keep her condition a secret from everyone. They even took advantage of her condition. Her father would make her run on the treadmill to charge their batteries, which helped save on the electricity bill. Nevertheless, the scene shifts back to the present, where we see that May has now taken a leave form from the school because she's about to leave. On the other hand, it is shown that Peter has taken back all the comics he had written about May from the other students. Seeing this, May was surprised and asked, "What are you doing?" In response, Peter says, "Who am I to reveal your weakness to everyone and make things harder for you? I won't bother you anymore." He then adds, "I won't make any more comics about you." With that, he burns all the comics. In the same fire, May burns her farewell letter as well. But suddenly, the fire spread quickly and got stuck in the fence. Seeing this, Peter panicked. But May quickly ran and brought a fire extinguisher, and together, they managed to put out the fire. What May didn't know was that Fame had been watching her from a distance and was impressed by her speed. The next day, Fame invited her to join his team. Hearing this, May was very excited, and her heart started racing. Knowing that this could cause an electric shock from her body, she quickly ran away. Meanwhile, Peter went to check on Shona's health, only to have her mock him. She even threw his belongings in the trash. Dejected, Peter went to May's house, feeling as if his life was over. He told May, "Give me an electric shock." But this time, no electricity came out of May's body. When Peter angered her further, she slapped him, and that slap carried an electric shock, knocking him unconscious. When he woke up, he was on a stretcher, with 2 doctors standing over him. They were talking about removing his kidney. Hearing this, Peter panicked, but then realized that these were May's parents, joking with him. May told her father, "Stop it, Dad. Leave him alone." Eventually, they all shared a meal together, and soon Peter and May became good friends. They promised to help each other with everything. Peter advised May to join the race with Fame, while May advised Peter to go and help Shona so he could catch her attention. Shona's problem was that she didn't have anyone to co-lead her team. So, Peter went to her class, offering to do the students' homework in exchange for them attending Shona's game. In return, he had to draw pictures for the kids and write all the homework. He also had to plant trees and clean up, with May helping him the whole time. One day, Peter took May to his house, where she saw some lovely posters that he had made for Shona. She asked him, "Why don't you show these to Shona? Show her how beautifully you've drawn them." She told him that if he showed Shona his artwork, she would surely be impressed. But Peter was now afraid to show his comics or paintings. Meanwhile, the kids were also going to see Shona's direct messages, DMs, which made her very happy. She still didn't know that Peter was behind all of this. On the other hand, May participated in the race. But this wasn't an ordinary race. It was a relay race with 4 runners. The first runner had to complete the first lap, then hand over the baton to the second runner, who would start running, and so on until the third and fourth runners finished. The team that completed the race in the shortest time would win. Hearing this, May got scared because running made her heart race, and when that happened, her body would generate electricity. She decides to run in the final part of the race. However, there's still a problem. While running, when she sees Fame, her heartbeat speeds up, and an electric current starts building in her body. In that situation, she doesn't take the baton directly from Fame's hand. Instead, she cleverly pretends to drop the baton and then kicks it with her hands, making it look like she grabbed it effortlessly. As a result, the baton ends up stuck on her nose, and blood starts trickling down. But she didn't want to lose to Fame. She runs incredibly fast and wins the race for her team. After this, they qualify for the final round. Everyone was captivated by May's graceful moves, especially how she caught the baton. After winning the race, she was extremely happy. She went to the washroom, hugged May tightly in excitement, and suddenly, May felt something, a realization that she was more than just a friend to her now. When Peter went home and made a comic, he didn't draw Shona this time. Instead, he depicted May in his comic, showing her hugging him. The next day at school, May asked Fame to go somewhere on Sunday. She was happy, feeling like she had invited him on a date. She even told Peter about it. However, Peter wasn't pleased to hear this, because he didn't like May that way. Plus, May wasn't very good at doing her makeup, often looking disheveled. Despite this, she went with Peter to the place Fame had called them. When she got there, her heart broke. It wasn't a date, it was a field where Fame had called them for race practice. On the other hand, Peter sent all his comic books, which featured Shona in a very flattering way, to her via a little girl. All the comics had reached Shona, and she had read them. She really liked them. After reading them, she immediately went to Peter. Peter was surprised to see her and thought that Shona was impressed. Without thinking, he blurted out, "I love you." And that's where everything changed. Shona got angry and said, "I came here to thank you. You've depicted me very well in all these comics, and I really liked it. I also know you sent the kids to cheer for me that day. But that doesn't mean I want to marry you. I like Fame." Hearing this, Peter's heart broke. Meanwhile, it started raining, halting their practice. Fame was standing so close to May that her heart began racing again, causing electricity to flow through her body. Due to the rain, Fame started feeling cold. Poor May was terrified, thinking Fame had died. But just then, Peter arrived. Peter reassured her, saying Fame was just unconscious, and he took him away from the scene. When May went home, she was still very sad. Due to her lingering anger, the electric current inside her hadn't gone away. When she touched the main switch in her house, it blew a fuse, causing a power outage. To cheer her up, Peter sat with her and gave a new twist to the real-life events by turning them into a comic. He created a story where an electric hero learns the truth about the girl he likes. The hero feared the girl would leave him after learning about her condition, but the hero reassured her, saying, "I don't care if you have any flaws. I like you for who you are." After reading Peter's comic, May felt much better, forgetting about the unfortunate events that had happened. May then realized that it was better to tell Fame the truth herself. The next day, she approached Fame and told him everything, that when her heart races, electricity flows through her body. He wasn't ready to believe her at first, but May gave him a demo right there and charged his phone using her powers. Seeing this, he was astonished and deeply impressed, because she had revealed her entire truth to him. Finally, he proposed to her, saying, "You were my friend before, but now, will you be my girlfriend?" Hearing this, she was overjoyed. She went to Sunny and told Peter about it. Hearing this, Peter was heartbroken. He went home feeling devastated. The next day was the final day of all the games, in which May was also participating. The entire school had gathered, except for Peter, who stayed home in sadness, mourning the loss of May. However, he suddenly had an idea, which made him smile. Because of this idea, he rushed to the school and stood beside Fame. He said to Fame, "Why are you acting like such a big hero?" Fame thought he was being ridiculous since Fame didn't even know him well, and they were just talking while the race was about to start. Fame's teammate finished his lap and ran towards him. Fame quickly grabbed the baton and continued running. Peter ran alongside him and eventually told May, "Look at this notebook. I made this entire notebook about you." The moment he said that, something happened. May's body began emitting electricity again. Fame came up to her, grabbed the baton, and a strong current surged through her. Despite that, May took the baton in her hand and quickly finished her lap. In the end, they won the race. There was joy from winning the race on one side, but tension on the other. May was standing still, wondering how she had discharged electricity from her body like that. She was lost in these thoughts when Fame approached her. He said, "Look, I proposed to you, but still, your heart didn't race that fast. But when Peter told you that he made a comic book about you, your heartbeat increased rapidly. This means you love Peter, and what you feel for me is just a crush." He continued, "The decision is in your hands. I love you, but if you choose Peter, I won't be sad at all." There wasn't much time left because the announcement was about to begin, and all the winners were about to receive their prizes. After receiving the award, they all had to hold hands and stand in a circle. May went to Peter and said, "Give me that comic book. I want to know what you wrote about me." Seeing her interest, Peter became excited. But now that they had to hold hands with everyone, Peter tried to distract himself by reciting math formulas. At that very moment, Peter also proposed to her, asking, "Will you add my name to yours?" The moment she heard this, her heart started racing so fast that the electric current flowing through her body shocked everyone around her. Everyone who was holding her hand got scared, and the movie ends there with this shocking scene. Thank you.